What's up, guys? Now, the other day I did a video going over all the star cards and the new changes and stuff for all the heroes. I went over the best loadouts and the loadouts that I personally am going to go with here after the August update. So if you guys haven't seen that video, I recommend checking that out. But in today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the villains, going to go over my personal loadouts and which star cards I think is the best for certain situations. So let's get right into it. Let's start with Boba Fett himself. I figured, let's just go straight through the list. Now, this is the card that is getting changed. It's bounty claimed. I don't know if they're going to keep the same artwork or not. But his new card is called Born to Fly. It says Boba Fett's ability cooldowns are faster while in air, but his health regeneration starts 1.5 seconds later. So I will probably go with Intense Barrage because, his rockets are pretty bad without this card. So obviously I have to go with this one. And then I was going to go with just 2 jetpack cards because his jetpack, that's key to Boba Fett. He's hard to hit when he's in the air. And if they were going to just remove this card completely, I would have just went with these 3. But with the addition of his new card, I think I might actually go with the new card, which, it makes his abilities faster, but his health regeneration is a little slower. So I'm going to go with the rockets, either one of these 2 jetpack cards, and then his new card. If the ability cooldowns are faster, that means I can use my rockets more frequently. And more rocket barrage means more kills, so I'm going to go with that. So one of the jetpack cards, the new card, and the rockets. And then we're going to skip over Bosk, since Bosk isn't getting a new card. He's going to stay pretty much exactly the same. And then up next we have Darth Vader, but his new card says Surrounded by Fear. When killing an enemy, Darth Vader gains stamina back. So probably not going to go with the new card for Vader. I just don't think that it sounds very good. I know some people are excited for that, but until they fix the stamina system and the blocking system, I'm just going to avoid that card. So for me, I can get rid of this card, and the new card's just not going to be worth it. So this one, you get damage reduction when you're in the focused rage, which is what I like to go with. And then you can kind of mix it up. So maybe since there's no health on kill, I can go with increased max health. So I can go more health, damage reduction, and then really, honestly, any one of these are pretty good. Like the extra saber damage, I've seen that. I've used it a few times. It's good. Depending on how much you like to block, that could be a good one. I personally will just switch it up on occasion. I'll probably always keep these 2 active, and then I'll just switch it up between the choke. But for right now, I'm just going to go with the choke. Vader has so many good star cards that it kind of doesn't really matter for me. I'm excited for Vader getting a new card because even if the new card that they're giving him was a good one, that's just another option to have. So I'm perfectly fine with Vader star cards. I'm glad they're getting rid of his health on kill. And Vader's going to be forced to be reckoned with, like even more than what he already was. So he's going to be pretty damn dangerous. And then up next is Emperor Palpatine. Let's go over to his new card. Palpatine, his card is called Show No Mercy. Each extra target hit by chain lightning will reduce its cooldown by 0.25 seconds to a maximum. This effect resets when Emperor Palpatine is defeated. So that card is going to be very, very dangerous. So we don't have to worry about health on kill. I'm probably going to go with that new card because, the fact that you're going to be able to run around and just use that ability over and over and over, that's going to be pretty scary. So new card. What you could do is where's that one card? This one. Chain lightning bounces to more targets. Those would stack because if the new one is called it says each target hit by chain lightning will reduce its cooldown. Well, if you can hit more targets with this card, then they would stack together. So this card lets you hit 4 more targets. That's 4 more targets that could reduce the cooldown of the ability. So you could just run around with those 2 and just use that ability over and over and over and over and over. And then I'll probably go with either the increased range or the less stamina. Palpatine's going to have some options now, but that new card, they might have to tweak it a little bit because Palpatine veterans, like the try-hard Palpatines, they're already hard to kill because they're bouncing around all over the place. They have the best dodge. So definitely keep an eye out for Palpatine's new card. And that's the loadout that I would use. And then we have Iden Versio, but her new card is called Shocking Weakness. Iden Versio Stun Droid also reveals enemies in a 25-meter radius to all allies for a short time. Okay, so I do not care about that. I don't care if they're revealed to allies. That will probably be a good card if you want to get MVP, because you'll get a lot of assist points. So that's one thing to think of, but I'm pretty selfish when it comes to that. So I will get rid of this card, and then I will probably go with this one. Increased area of effect when searching for targets, secondary fire, and then maybe increased area of effect while shocking enemies. That way I can shock more people, I can still use secondary fire, and then I can also have better range with the droid. Or maybe you could switch it up. If you don't like to use the droid, go with the extra shields, and then maybe go with the less heat buildup. There's a few options with Iden, but for me personally, especially like Heroes versus Villains and stuff, definitely droid, and then secondary fire. And that's probably going to be the same loadout I use for pretty much everything. And then moving on to Kylo Ren. Kylo is going to be pretty freaking dirty. Kylo's abilities are already pretty good. If we take a look at his new card, it says Power of Darkness. After he used Frenzy, Kylo Ren's lightsaber damage is increased for 6 seconds. Yeah, that's going to be pretty damn good. So this card is getting replaced by the new one. And then, yeah, you can pretty much do whatever. You could even take the new card off and then use any of these other combos. Like, Kylo has some good freaking cards. Now, something to keep in mind is Kylo deals more damage with his frenzy attacks. You could go with this one, and then if you go with the new card, he does more damage after he just uses frenzy, and then, depending on how close, like if you're playing Heroes vs. Villains or something, when you're close to other villains, you do more damage, so that's 20 more damage, and then that's 20 more damage per hit with Frenzy, and then you would do more damage after Frenzy's done for 6 more seconds. So that's a lot of damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
It's kind of just preference depending on like how you want to freeze or if you want to pull or whatever. Honestly, I'm probably going to switch it up on occasion. For Galactic Assault, I like to use the increased range with pull, and instead of doing more damage with pull, I'll probably switch it up and go with like extra frenzy damage or something. And yeah, you'll probably pretty much one-shot everybody with this loadout. You'll get health on kill, and you'll do a lot of extra damage with your saber swings. So yeah, Kylo's definitely going to be pretty scary. If you're a hero and Kylo catches you off guard, you're probably going to die pretty quickly. And then next up we have Darth Maul. Darth Maul's new card is called Savage. If Darth Maul hits 4 enemies with spin attack within a short time, his spin attack recharge will be 75% faster for 4 seconds. That's a very situational card. It doesn't say how long that short period of time is. On small maps like Death Star or whatever, you might be able to hit 4 people and then you'll get that spin back faster. I mean, like I said, it doesn't say how short a short time is. It could be 3 or 4 seconds. Maybe you can get 2 spins off in that short time, and then you can get a total of 4. So depending on how short that short time is, will determine what cards I go with. But I honestly like to go with receiving less damage from blasters, 16%. Just, I mean, that's pretty good. He already has a good health regeneration. I like to go with the extra spin. So if the new card is actually good, then those two will stack and you'll be able to spin 3 times and more frequently. But I mean, his saber throws better now, so some people like to go with the bonus damage with the saber throw. If it was like Heroes versus Villains, I'm probably going to go with some sort of like choke loadout, like choking them, throwing them farther away. That's good for throwing them off maps. The throw damage is always nice. And then the extra damage with the choke is always nice too. But for me personally, I'm probably going to go with either the extra choke damage or the extra ability time. Who knows? And then another thing to think about is it might be able to stack. So if you have 10% faster like recharge rate, and then you use the new card and you hit 4 people, then you could be just pumping out spins really, really quickly. But for me, that's probably my loadout. I'll test out the new card, and then I'll kind of see where it goes, but I'm for sure using these two. And then we have Captain Phasma. Captain Phasma has never really been that good. Captain Phasma's new card is called Blaster Inspection. Every time she kills an enemy, Captain Phasma and friendly troopers around her gain a permanent 3% decrease to their blaster overheat per bolt to a maximum. This effect is over when she dies. I always go with these two, anything to buff her armor. So this one gives her increased health when she's using her survivor ability, and then this one gives her damage reduction by 50%. So I will always go with those two cards no matter what. Now, depending on if you want to fire your blaster longer, you could go with the new card, where every kill you get, you can shoot longer. And then you could even stack that with this card. For every enemy you kill, it resets the heat reduction. Then you could basically just fire forever. I mean, you'd be getting more kills, and you'd be getting that reduction by 3% till, like, let's say, I don't know, 15 or something %. So you could just fire and fire and fire and fire and fire and pretty much do it forever. But for me personally, I'm just going to go with more armor, more health reduction, and then maybe the new card or maybe one of the cards to buff her droid, because I don't really think it matters what third card you go with Phasma. She's just not that good of a hero. And then General Grievous is going to be very interesting. Grievous is one of my favorite villains in the entire game. He's just really freaking cool, so I'm glad he's getting a good card. His new ability is called Flesh is Weak. For every 10% health missing, General Grievous gains damage reduction, but his health regeneration speed is halved. So that's a double-edged sword. The more damage you take, the more damage reduction you get. But, I mean, you're kind of losing some of these other trade-off cards. Like this one, you have increased health. So you could use that card. You could use the new card, which would stack. So, like, you get more health by 100. That's more damage you could take, which would give you more damage reduction. So maybe use those two together, and then maybe go with the extra lightsaber damage, or maybe go with the damage reduction for Unrelenting Advance. So this one gives you 40% reduction. Let's say you get all the way down to like 10 health. You're going to have even more damage reduction. So you're going to be close to invincible when you're using this ability. Same with the Claw Rush one. Damage reduction is 90%. If you have the new card equipped, where you take more damage reduction, you're going to be invincible when you're using this ability. So that's something to think about. When the August update comes out, I'm probably going to go with the damage reduction for Unrelenting Advance. I'll go with the more health, and I'll go with his new card. I just don't think it really matters that much until they fix his abilities. Now we have Count Dooku. Count Dooku is definitely going to be a different hero after the August update. Called Initiative. Every 15 seconds, Count Dooku's basic attack will be a critical strike, dealing extra damage. This cooldown is reduced by 1 second for every successful lightsaber attack. Now, it doesn't say like if there's a max on that. So it says every 15 seconds procs. Well, what happens if you have 15 successful attacks? Does that mean it goes down to 0 seconds and every single swing is a critical strike? Because that would be really OP. So no matter what, I'm going with that new card. So new card for that. So this is the new card. I'm going to be using that one. And then I will go with Count Dooku reveals more damage while dual is active. Boom. There's that one. And then increase maximum health regeneration. From what I've found, the lightning cards don't really seem to be that good. His lightning just doesn't have the range to it. This increases like how wide it goes, but not how far it goes. So this lightning card's just not that good. And then I've never found that his exposed weakness is that good either, because it's only good in like heroes versus villains. It doesn't make sense to use it for individual troopers, because you're probably going to get shot as you're using that ability. So that's the loadout. I'm going to go with Dooku. Let me know what you guys are going to use for your individual heroes down in the comments below. If you guys haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to check out another video. Follow me on Twitch at SwanyPlaysGames Live. And that's going to do it for me, guys. And I will talk to you all in the next video.
Will you join me? Accept your fate. I grew impatient.